Okay, is Canada ready for online voting? Well, before we can answer that question, we need to know something about Canada. Here's something. Canada is the second largest country in the world. It's a big country. It's 6 time zones big. Take the entire EU and then double it. Canada is still bigger. Take the largest country in the EU. It'll fit inside of Ontario several times over. If you see this dot down here, this is London, Ontario, where I live. All of Germany fits into this lower third of Ontario. So Canada is very large. And what that means is just that, like the US, we really rely on multi tiers of government. The next thing to understand about Canada is that each of those governments is responsible for running their own election. So the federal elections are run at the federal level by Elections Canada. And the provinces and territories each run their own elections, and so do the cities. Also, political parties themselves run elections, although they're only open to members of the parties. But parties are important to this conversation because the political parties eventually become the government. So at the federal level, Elections Canada runs hand-counted paper ballots. So this is a very straightforward and very mature and very, frankly, robust way of doing elections. We count the whole country's election in one night by hand. And yes, even the remote communities in Nunavut and Northwest Territories in the Yukon, we settle the whole matter the same night. Now, at the province and territorial level, we see a little bit more variance. So we do have hand-counted paper ballots in a lot of places. Here in Ontario, they've just introduced optical scanner technology. They don't have currently the appropriate audits to go along with it, but they certainly are using that technology today. And for the first time recently, we saw a subnational division of Canada, the Northwest Territories, use online voting in one of its general elections. Where online voting really happens predominantly in public elections in Canada is at the municipal level. Now there we see all kinds of different technology. You got your optical scan. We have some touch screen in some cities across Canada. Mail-in ballots, telephone voting, press 1 if you want to vote for Alice, press 2 to vote for Bob. And then, of course, online voting. In terms of online voting, the main users of it right at this point are at the municipal level in Ontario and Nova Scotia. But we also now, for the first time, are seeing some use in the Northwest Territories. Also, the Parliament of Canada just recently introduced a mobile app for voting in parliamentary divisions. Now, this problem is maybe less technically complex because the vote that you make as a member of parliament is not a secret. So you're not trying to balance privacy and verifiability at the same time, which is why voting is so hard. Of course, at the provincial and federal political party level, we see online voting, and also in the nations of our First Nations, it's become quite prevalent. Okay, here's just a question. Are we really ready to use this technology? Well, I'm not sure, because the cyber maturity in Canada is not at a place that I would say gives me a lot of confidence that we're ready. This is the Elections Canada website. Now, I just want to clarify, Elections Canada does not use online voting. What I'm trying to do is sort of point to the fact that there is a kind of a cyber immaturity that exists among election and government agencies. And that cyber maturity is relevant when we start talking about online voting. So, here's a website. This was, this wasn't a long time ago. This was I think 2019, that they were still not using TLS on their website. We actually did a survey and found that in 2018, we had a paper e-vote ID where we found that a lot of election agencies in Canada just didn't have TLS enabled on their websites. And we started reaching out to them saying, hey, you really got to fix this. And we would get back things like this. Oh, we're not worried. There's no public data. There's no private data on our website. But there's a lot of reasons to use TLS. And if you are like, if you understand how cybersecurity works, you know this. It affects what the site looks like. Without TLS, it can be changed to look like anything. Elections Canada themselves said, oh, well, yeah, we're aware that's important, but we've implemented it for all of our web forms. I mean, forget about TLS stripping attacks and redirection attacks and so forth. They're at least claiming that it's present in all of their web forms, except it wasn't. And I told them about this, and they still were going to go on record as saying that they weren't doing that, even though they were. The political parties also tend to do this. They post non-HTTPS links all the time. Candidates for this is the Minister for Municipal Affairs and Housing, which is the minister responsible for allowing all of the online voting in Ontario, and no TLS on their website. This was the Minister for Democratic Institutions for the Government of Canada. So we ended up having to make a national headline out of this in order to get them to turn on TLS. So we've been talking to them privately for a long time saying, hey, Elections Canada, turn on TLS. It's just a bad look. And we just couldn't get anyone on the phone. So finally, it ended up turning into a news story. I didn't mean for this to happen. It just kind of happened. And they did it. Okay, great. I regret that it had to kind of go to that level of public scrutiny for it to happen. But, this is kind of the world that we're living in here. Oh, here's another one. So this actually was an issue raised by Richard Ackerman, who is actually here right now. Hi, Richard. So credit to him for pointing this out. The government likes to use the Owly social media platform, which is uses a Libyan top-level domain. Not that this is a security flaw exactly, but we're talking about national sovereignty. Maybe we don't want to use other countries' top-level domains in our own federal government's communications with the public. And then, of course, as we sort of looked at this, they're not even using the Owly domain with HTTPS. It's what they post is HTTP versions of links which go through redirects. So in this case, we got two insecure redirects. So anybody that's sitting in the middle can hijack any of these web sessions and show you whatever they want. So. And why is this a problem in the case of e-voting? Well, when you're voting on the web and your ballot is an HTTP post, so in this case, one of the Canadian vendors, Simply Voting, this is their demo website. So you can go and vote online. So what gets sent back to the server is some sort of code identifying the ballot choice, and then some kind of code representing what was, the contest, and then the selection made by the ballot. So my vote in this case is encoded by the number 5724277. And that is sent over the web. And if it is sent over HTTP, then it can be arbitrarily modified at any step along the way. And without anything else, there's nothing that would allow me to detect that a modification occurred. There's nothing that would allow the vendor's server to detect that something had occurred. Like complete impunity to change votes, and also to, view votes and ballot secrecy. Now, you might be saying, okay, well, this is Elections Canada is not doing online voting, so who cares if they don't have HTTPS? Well, again, I'm pointing to a culture, a certain like broad immaturity as far as cybersecurity goes. And that's important because these agencies are the ones that are buying the online voting services. And if the companies themselves are behaving in a cyber immature fashion, the client, the government, won't notice it. So here is the Cape Breton uh, online voting login page from their 2020 municipal election, happened in October, right? And so there is no HTTPS redirect. So if I get this letter in the mail saying go to the website, and I just type it in, right? If I type in this address, which is typical, what people would do is they just type in that, they would not type HTTPS:// it doesn't redirect to a secure HTTPS version of the site. So we're casting votes over HTTP. Like like why am I like why is it me and Richard like the only people in Canada that are like this is nuts? All right, we can't be doing this. Democracy is not going to be served by this. Another compounding factor is that if you look, a lot of these cities are completely eliminating paper ballots, so you can only vote online. So your choice is to literally accept the cyber risk and the cyber, in misconfiguration, or to not vote at all. Now, this is also an important point because there was a lawsuit in Lambton Shores in Ontario where a bunch of citizens challenged the city in a lawsuit and said, we feel that we were put in a place where we either could vote and have our ballot secrecy revealed or not vote and protect our ballot secrecy. And so many of them chose not to vote. And the judge, and I actually was an expert witness in this case. So, although my testimony on the technological aspects of the system did not appear in the judge's decision, what did appear in the judge's decision was this remark about how these voters, in his words, voluntarily disenfranchised themselves. So, we're in this place where if you know about how the technology works and you have a valid democratic concern about it, and then you try to take it to an election agency or the courts, there's not enough technical knowledge in these organizations to appreciate the concern and to give it like proper scrutiny. So is Canada ready for online voting? Well, it almost kind of doesn't matter because we're already doing it. So I guess that means, ready or not, here we come.